Now, this is LSAT Prep Test 147, Section 2, Passage 4. This is a law passage about specific performance, when a court forces somebody to do exactly what a contract says. This is a fairly easy passage, but you don't want to be sloppy about it because the structure is clean, so students read it passively and then second guess themselves on the questions. Now, the passage is making an argument. The author thinks courts should almost always award money instead of forcing people to follow through on contracts. And the whole passage is built to get you to that conclusion. Now, paragraph 1 does two things. First, it defines the two remedies. Specific performance means the court makes you do what you promised. Monetary damages mean you pay for the harm you caused by not doing it. Second, and this is the part people tend to glaze over, the author tips their hand. That last sentence says there are many instances where specific performance is clearly not the right call. Two opinion words back to back. The author is not setting up a neutral comparison. They're telling you their answer before the argument starts. You want to read this at normal speed, grab the definitions, catch the lean, and keep going. Now, paragraph 2 is a concession. The author is saying, okay, yes, sometimes specific performance is the right move. When? When the thing in the contract is unique. Their example is personal property that means something to the buyer that money can't capture. In other words, you can't write a check for sentimental value. So the only real fix is making the author hand it over. Now, here's what you've got to understand about this paragraph. It is not the author changing their mind. It's the author being fair before they come down in favor of their opinion. They are narrowing the lane for specific performance so that when they argue against it, you can't say they ignored the obvious cases. You want to move through this one quickly. It exists to set up paragraph 3, not to stand on its own. Now, you want to slow down here because paragraph 3 is the argument. It opens with the word nevertheless, which pulls you back to the author's real position. And then it goes somewhere students don't expect. The author doesn't just say money usually works. They say forcing performance can actually make things worse. And that is a bigger claim. The example is service contracts. Picture it. Let's say somebody agreed to work with you, but now they won't. A court order would force them to show up, but now you've got a person working under coercion. The author here gets specific about what happens next. Resentment builds, the relationship falls apart, friction gets worse, not better. And then there is a practical layer on top of that as well. Even if the court wanted to enforce it, policing that kind of arrangement would drain resources the court doesn't want to spend. And so monetary damages let the court sidestep the whole mess and still give the wronged party relief. Now, every sentence in this paragraph is doing something, don't skim any of it. Now, the key move here is the escalation in paragraph 3. The author shifts from saying specific performance isn't necessary to saying specific performance is actively harmful. And that is not the same argument. The first one says money works fine. The second one says forcing compliance creates new problems that didn't exist before. Now, the hardest questions on this passage will test whether you caught that distinction. Now, the author believes specific performance belongs in a very small box. Unique property, no other way to make the buyer whole. Everything else, especially service contracts, should default to money. Now, the trap here is reading this as a balanced here are two options comparison. It's not. The author gave one paragraph to the case for specific performance and one much longer paragraph to the case against it. So if you treat the passage as neutral, you're going to pick a wishy-washy answer on the main point question and you're going to get burned. Before you go to the questions, check yourself on 3 things. First, why does the author bring up unique property if their real point is against specific performance? Second, what exactly goes wrong when a court forces someone to perform a service? And third, who benefits besides the wronged party when the court chooses money instead?